Hello, everybody,
Hi.
and welcome. You wait till I.
Sorry, I was excited. I was excited. I saw us now.
I'd like
me.
to welcome my guest to the show. This is Stephen Ignoramus.
Hi.
Welcome, Stephen.
Hello.
To
Hi.
to my show.
Very
and
excited. Hello.
To my home.
Yes, I'm like, this is actually my home. This is my room.
He's gonna start paying rent pretty soon.
No dog today. No dog. No dog cam.
No doggos. But if you guys donate, I'm demonetized. Unmonetized.
No
right
longer
now.
monetized.
Yeah, no longer monetized, but you can still do, since somebody asked, I'll do it right at the beginning. You can definitely do the buy me a coffee thing, and you can, where is it? There it is. Buy Xena a milk bone, and we will get her in here at the end of the show and do all of those together.
And we're doing something special.
We are. In a little bit, we're
Yeah.
going to do the drawing for June, which is very exciting. So hopefully whoever's here, whoever wins is in the chat today, because I want to, I want a big reaction.
And so what is it? You put all the names in the thing of people that have donated? Is that what it is? So I'm not in there.
You did not.
I've never donated. No.
No.
I donated some fireworks this weekend though.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
You did.
So we're doing that like a halfway point. What's up, everybody?
When a good spot comes to take a break, we'll definitely do that.
Mm.
So how's everybody doing today? Let's say hi to the chat. Hi, chat.
Hey, chat.
Hi, chat. How are you? Yama Fago, nice to see you. It's been so long. As if he's not in my living room right now. Horatius, as always. Thank you so much. Also, Horatius contributed to some of the links for today's show, so I appreciate that. A whole bunch. Finding the Faith with Frida. Special thanks to her. Definitely go subscribe to her channel. She helped me with the research on this episode a ton. So thank you so much. Major Victory. Good to see you. Dino, nice to see you. Number 2, as always, is here. Smith W. Jerry. Everybody's here. Jam and Jet's here. My mom's here. I mean, yo mama, which is my mama. So be good. My mom's here. You guys, you be good too. My mom's here. Greg, good to see you.
Yeah, Katie definitely gave me a talking to in the lead up to this stream here. So I'll be on my best behavior. I realize that we're not on my property here. We're on your property.
Exactly.
Yeah, I respecter of property. Me, I am.
Yes, and my brother knows no enemy. Everybody's here. Good to see you. We're going to jump right into it, I guess. So we're going to talk about Leo Frank today. And we did a little field trip the other day. So we've been planning the stream for about a month now. And this case happened here in the metro Atlanta area where I am. I'm pretty north of there. But we took.
What's your address?
I was about to say, say my address was. But I stopped myself. Yeah. If you want to know my address, you'll have to watch Steven's show because he says it on his show.
I didn't. That's right.
We took a field trip down to Marietta, Georgia, where this thing happened.
Do you have the pictures pulled up?
They're in the thumbnail. I did not pull up
I'm talking about the one. Okay. All right. Serious show, by the way.
We like to laugh.
See, Katie's saying that we need to take it easy and we need to be on our best behavior. We need to be there for Katie because she's very emotional about this.
I am.
She cried. Yeah. Am I allowed to share that?
Yeah.
Yeah. She cried at the gravesite of Marianne Phagan.
Yes.
We'll explain in a little bit.
I mean, I did. I was like, I felt like, do you ever cry? Like, tell me in the chat if you ever cried in public. And it's not that it was inappropriate. We were at a cemetery, but just I was embarrassed at myself for just weeping publicly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a tearjerker case. I mean, we'll get into the details, but also graveyards do evoke a little bit of that. And also there's, one of the most interesting things to me about this that I learned about this case is the tie into like Confederate history, which I have a soft spot for, like Southern history. I didn't realize. I mean, I'm kind of spoiling the story.
That's okay.
Do you like to give stuff away in the beginning, or do you like to leave them in the dark?
I should. If I was good at
building
my job,
the suspense.
I would do what is it called, where you get them right at the beginning? Like there's a name for it. I should do that.
Cliffhanger or
Yeah.
or just suspense or
Yeah, but I don't. I just say whatever comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Just-
no.
We can whatever. I want to say hi to Emma Q over there on Rumble too. I see you there. I have Rumble pulled up today.
I want to say hello to Mr. Zed over there on Rumble. So
Yeah.
so people are saying that you didn't introduce me and they're asking who I am.
I did. This is Stephen Igner.
Yeah,
Did I
well, you
not?
said that, but I think they want like more. I don't really care that much.
Oh.
This is not. I'll say who I'm not. I'm not Zed's little brother.
I'll say who I'm not.
I'll say-
Stephen is one of my, I would say one of my best friends.
100%.
We hang out all the time. You live in Tennessee and you have a show. What's your channel name now?
So I have two channels. One is Ignoramus Streams. One is Ignoramus Videos.
Yes.
One of them is where the streams go. One of them is where the videos go.
don't say.
Yeah, straight up logical. You know, men, we're a little more logical. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stream. I do I do a musician. I do music. I interview people. I have a good time.
Yes.
I was my claim to fame is being arrested after storming the Capitol. I actually didn't storm the Capitol. I live streamed the event and got arrested.
Correct.
And
we talked about it. Go back after this show, obviously. Go back in my streams and there's a January 6th episode where we talked all about it. Went into detail.
Yep.
So yeah, I will definitely. I should have linked it in the description. Your channel,
Whatever,
but I did not. But I'll go back.
Yeah,
and
sub
put them
up
in the
for me. Yeah,
description.
do me a favor. Throw me a sub on Ignoramus Videos. We're trying to grow that one, but you can see how much I truly don't care about promoting myself. Though I just.
You're so bad.
I just don't, dude.
One of my mods, if you could link his stuff in the chat, I would appreciate
the more subs I get, the more friends I lose. I mean, like, so I'm chilling.
Yeah, I think this is the first time you've been on my channel that I'm more popular than you. Yeah. I was really hoping. I've been doing a big push to have more subs than you by the time this.
Who's your next who's your next sacred cow that you're trying to?
Well, my brother News No Enemy was the next one, but I didn't even realize it when it happened. But I passed him too, so. I'm just gonna do it for me now. I'm just gonna and let's start talking about this.
It's your show.
Let's talk
do what
about
you want.
the story.
Yeah.
Hi, Waffle Salter. Good to see you over there on Rumble. I appreciate you being here. So, brief history. Leo Frank was born on April 17th, 1884 in Curio, Texas.
What type of family did he come from?
He was a Jewish American family. And I guess they were from Germany originally. Okay. So they moved to Brooklyn when Leo was 3 months old. So even though he's born.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's like, you do seem so nervous. Loosen up a little bit there. You're good. We prayed before the stream. It was like the first time. You do almost every time. I do alone. Yeah. But I've never prayed with someone before.
I don't a lot of times when people are here, but
yeah. We just got to
pray and type. So it felt right.
I am. Yep.
They moved to Brooklyn when he was 3 months old. So even though he's born in Texas, he's not like a Southern boy. You know what I mean? Like
Southern, more like Southern Kingdom.
I don't know what.
It's an Israel joke. There's the Northern Kingdom and the Southern.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm blonde. You have to explain something. Yeah. Jokes are always so much better when you have to explain.
Yeah, I know. Them. Well, point you to the chapter and verse. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you.
This is not getting off to a good start. Because of me, not because of you. Keep going.
Okay. So he did an apprenticeship in Germany with a pencil manufacturer called Abraham Faber, and then he moved to Atlanta. Obviously, not when this is when he was an adult, and he became the superintendent of a pencil factory here in Atlanta.
It was a big employer at the time, right? I mean, wasn't it like a huge pencil factory?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a huge pencil factory. And it was even though the Mary and where the events after this case was in Marietta, the actual pencil company or the pencil factory was in Atlanta on Forsyth Avenue, I believe it was. Leo Frank was introduced to Lucille Selig shortly.
Selig.
Selig, you think? Selig?
Mm-hmm.
Schleg, like the lock.
Trust me, it's Selig. Yeah, trust me.
Shortly after he arrived in Atlanta, and she came from a prominent. This is important for later. She came from a very prominent upper middle class Jewish family of industrialists, and her grandfather founded the first synagogue in Atlanta, and he was a
Rabbi.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I should have just put it in the notes. Anyway, they got married in 1910, and their marriage was described as happy. And later on in the trial, we find out that he was not necessarily happy, or his actions didn't reflect that. Anyway, so
someone is saying your mic is a little low.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But that's master volume. That's both of our mics, right?
Oh,
you got to do the.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry to.
All right.
Yeah. Oh,
is that better? I'm peeking a little bit.
That's really good. Yeah. You
okay. Is that better, guys?
Yep. All right.
Perfect. I'm going to put a picture of Mary up here. So this is Mary Phagan. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her background as well, just because
I feel like people looked so much older back then.
I think
people
they
were
did
just
too.
like more mature and more like refined.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I know it's a not a bad picture, but like it's an old picture. It's grainy and stuff like that. But
she's got these giant bows on the side of her head too, which kind of looks. I guess that was the style.
Yeah. But it's crazy. That's a 13-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, she may have been even younger in this picture.
Yeah. Mary Phagan. Can I read the caption?
Oh yeah.
Mary Phagan, a pencil factory worker, was raped and murdered in 1913. The factory manager, Leo Frank, was convicted for the murder and imprisoned, but then was lynched 2 years later on August 16, 1950.
Yeah, end of stream. That's the whole.
All right, see you guys. Have a good one. All right, have a good one, guys. Yeah, but I mean, I didn't think I'd be, talking too much about the case today because I'm learning a lot about it. I got about an hour into that one video, but just keep going with the background.
So she was born June 1st, 1899 in Florence, Alabama, and shortly after Mary's birth, her mother Frances Phagan moved the family back to their hometown of Marietta, Georgia. Mary didn't know her father because 2 months before she was born, he contracted the measles and died 2 months. Like he almost made it to meet his daughter, but he did not. So after the dad died, she had Mary and decided she needed to be closer to family, like her family. So they moved back to the Marietta area. One of the last things Mary did before she went out on her excursion on that Saturday was she ironed a white dress for Bible school the next day because it happened on a Saturday, and she knew, she was planning the next day. So she ironed her Sunday school dress, and she was a member of the Adriel, is that how you say that? Class of First Christian Bible School. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I don't never seen that word before, so that's how I
figured. I was going to refer to you. I figured you'd know all about it.
I know words, the best words.
He knows all the words. This is a quote from the book, "The Murder of Little Mary Phagan." It says, Mary Phagan was a beautiful little girl with fair complexion, blue eyes, and dimples.
The reason I joke so much is it's like a defense man. This story is straight up awful.
It's sad.
I mean, all jokes aside, it's just so if I'm saying some jokes, it's because it's uncomfortable.
I do the same thing on most of my cases. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Some people on TikTok don't like it. Like it at all.
Yeah, those aren't people because they're on TikTok.
Right. Yeah. They're just bots. Yeah. Her hair was long and reddish brown and fell softly about her shoulders. Since she was well developed, she could have passed for 18. So I guess even for back in the time, she looked older. Because, I mean, you're saying that picture. Anyway, her family called her Mary rather than her full name of Marianne. Mary was grandmother Franny's youngest child. Your grandfather says she had a bubbly personality and was the life of their home. Mary was jovial, happy, and thoughtful towards others. When she was with her family, she'd show her affection for them by sitting in their laps and hugging them. Kind of like Xena.
Hmm.
Xena does that a lot. That's how she shows. She's the lap dog. She's a 70-pound lap dog, but she is. Mary worked at the pencil factory on the second floor, and her job there was to put the little metal things on the end of the pencil that holds the eraser in. So she attached.
Do you know what that's called?
It's a metal thing
No.
that holds.
You know, like in whatever industry, everything like has a name.
Yeah.
I wonder what the name of it is.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought maybe you knew. I thought that's what you were asking me. I have no idea what that's called. Okay, so apparently that she hadn't been at work since the Monday previously. She had only worked 2 shifts because the metal shipment didn't come in. So so
they were like told to report to work when there's work to do. Other than that, you basically just So they're like, you know,
and it was a different time.
Not really an employee at that point. You're just like a
contracted work.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, back then, like 13, like nowadays, if there's a teenager working, they're working so they could buy the newest fashion for themselves, or to like at this time period in this place, she was working to help feed her family. It wasn't that, she needed the new Nikes that are coming out or something like that. Like when I was working at 16 or 15, you know? So it was very important for her to work, and, the stuff wasn't there. So she.
Can I just point out that they straight up know what that thing is called in the chat? Your mom and Smith both know what that is.
I'm not surprised.
That's crazy. A ferrule?
My mom knows a lot of stuff.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
A ferrule.
Yeah.
So that's the metal part.
Yeah. Well,
I have a very smart audience. On April 26, 1913, I know you're going to ask what she was wearing, so
I actually was I was intentionally not going to joke about that. I'm
going to tell you. There's a whole paragraph about it. She wore a very special lavender dress, and it was trimmed with lace, and her Aunt Lizzie had handmade it for her. Her undergarments included a corset with hose supporters, corset cover, knit underwear, an undershirt, drawers, a pair of silk garters, a pair of hose. She wore a low-heeled shoe, and she carried with her that day a silver mesh bag made of German silver and a handkerchief and a new parasol. So she was like dressed to the nines. Done up.
Because where was she headed again?
She was going to the Confederate Memorial Day Parade and Festival in Atlanta.
Yeah, you see how, and now I'm going to break a rule of talk shows. See, I knew that. I was lobbing a softball.
That was awesome.
But I also you
knew that I knew.
I like getting into I like breaking the fourth wall though. That's so good. I just want everyone to recognize that I am in show business.
Did that and
then you ruin it. Yeah, see, I don't like when people don't ruin it. Like, because they're like, oh, tell us more about that. This thing that I totally know the answer to. Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks for that.
And she got paid. What, she was going to pick up her payment or something like that?
She was. So right before she left the house at around 11:30, she ate her final meal, which was cabbage and bread. And she left her house around 9 or 11:30. But on her way to this Confederate Memorial Day parade in Atlanta, she stopped by the factory to pick up her paycheck, which was for the large sum of $1.20, which when I first saw that, I didn't know the part about the ferules not being in. Mm-hmm. I just learned a new word. I'm going to use it all the time now. So she had only worked 2 shifts, but even for 2 shifts, $1.20 still seems a little low. I don't know.
Who's this guy on the show? You should get rid of him. Thank you, Slap Weasel. Love you.
I'm very happy that Slap Weasel.
So Leo Frank was the superintendent, and he had rose through the ranks pretty quick, right? Like wasn't there some controversy where he probably going to get into this, but like some other guy died?
Oh, I don't even know anything about that.
Okay, I might look it up in a second. I thought you were gonna. Yeah, the guy that he replaced died or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you watch the video you sent me?
Yeah, but like a month and a half ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway. So this was like there's one. I mean, I'm the cultural implications of this. This is very much like culture war material because we'll get into this. Obviously, I should just stop saying that. Stop
That's
saying
okay.
we're going to get into, because this created the ADL.
We're getting into it
and
right
this
now.
was like, and they were like a Confederate, family,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, exactly. So when Mary didn't come home by dusk, her great grandmother began to worry about her because it was late. She had no idea where Mary could be. She's only 13 years old. She was only supposed to go to this parade and then come home. So she sent Grandpa out to find her. So Grandpa went to downtown Atlanta. He thought maybe she went to the Bijou Theater to see a movie, but so he waited outside the theater for all the people to come out to see if he could find her. She didn't come out, no sign of her. He returned home, reported to Grandma that Mary must have gone to Marietta to visit her grandfather, WJ. Since they had no telephone, they had no way to communicate with each other, so they couldn't call the other grandpa's house to say, hey, is Mary there? Like, there's none of that. This is 1913. I guess when was the telephone? That people had telephones, but not everybody.
I don't think it was mainstream.
Oh, obviously people had telephones because there's a telephone call later in the story. But it
was invented for this case. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't mainstream, I don't think, but it was where the Phagans were like they weren't a rich family.
No, they were very poor.
They were very poor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a phone call from the factory to Leo Frank later on. But Leo Frank's family was not very poor. He was pretty well off. All right. So this happened at the National Pencil Company at 41 South of Forsyth Street in Atlanta, Georgia, shortly before noontime in April 1913. And the reason why we know that it happened right before or right around noon is because when they did the autopsy, they hold on, getting ahead of ourselves. I thought I had, maybe I didn't. I thought I had the autopsy. Oh, sorry. I meant to do this.
Yikes.
In her stomach, they found the cabbage and the bread, and the cabbage takes longer to digest, so they couldn't really put a time frame on it. But since she ate bread as well, they were able to see, put her death right around 12:30, so about an hour after she last eaten. At 3 a.m. on April 27th, the night watchman, Newt Lee, discovered her body in the basement. So here's the pencil factory, and she had gone up to the second floor, which is where she worked, not only where she worked, but also where Leo Frank's office was, to collect her paycheck. And the night watchman was supposed to do rounds every 30 minutes. And for the whole night, he did not go all the way down back here to this back corner of the basement. He only came down this ladder here and kind of looked down the hall, and then, nothing's going on, and left. So it wasn't until 3:30 in the morning that he actually walked all the way down the hall and discovered her body. I guess this is a good thing to have up here so you can kind of see what the layout is.
Yeah, are you able to zoom in a little bit more?
I wish I could. I couldn't find a bigger picture. So no. Okay. This is the elevator shaft. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a way?
Yeah.
Look at you go.
Bam. Ain't my first rodeo, dog.
I'm glad I invited you here for this because I'm learning all sorts of stuff today.
I've taught you like 4 production things today. Yeah.
At least, probably more than that for sure.
Is this building still around?
It's not.
Okay.
We would have went to it on Friday.
Did it get like demolished? Like just.
There's like a new skyscraper building there now.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
It's like in the heart of where all the tall buildings are.
Yep.
So this is the front door. Like I said, the offices were up here, and then she was discovered down in the basement. There was a trap door, which was called in all of the court paperwork a scuttle hole, which I had to look up what that was, a trap door. I'm like, a scuttle hole? Do we have those still?
Yo, I don't know. The culture back then was so much cooler. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's got like the leftovers from like colonial times. And
Yeah.
you know, like I like that. That's what I like about the South.
You're like into history.
I'm super into it. Yeah.
So she is found face down on the basement floor of the factory, and she had sawdust shavings all over her, as if she was dragged. She had soot or cinders underneath her fingernails, like she was like crawling at the ground, struggling to get away from her attacker. Her underclothing was ripped and bloody, but when we looked at I read the autopsy report, there was no sign that she was actually assaulted in that way, but it was almost as if somebody was trying to do that, and then
they gave up.
They gave up, and killed her.
Well,
13 years old, guys. 13 years old. The autopsy would reveal that her murderer had choked her with a piece of her own underclothing and broken her skull. So the back of her head back here was cracked, and she was strangled to death. Newt, the night watchman that found her, was like terrified, because this is 1913 in Georgia, and he's a black guy, that he was going to get like blamed for this. And he was arrested, but like,
wasn't there like 5 people arrested? So Leo Frank, Newtley, Conley.
Yeah.
A couple of people.
There was a trolley driver that was arrested, and I think one other.
Yeah.
I can't remember the trolley driver's name or the other guy's name. So at this time, Atlanta was still recovering from the 1906 race riots. So he was very worried that he was going to get blamed for this. Like I said, he was. There was a lot of unrest between like the blacks and the whites back then. Funnily enough, even though that this case is about Jewish, like the Jewish person murdering a white person, and there's black people involved too, all throughout this, in all of the direct records that weren't made after the fact, there's no like during the trial records and stuff, there wasn't anti-Semitism as they claim after the fact. Like there's no sign of it in the actual, when you dig back to the actual records. So when you are reading about it from the point of view from today, they're saying, oh, it was just so anti-Semitic in Georgia, and that's why Leo Frank was blamed and all that. But I didn't see any of that in the court records. Zero. Until, like I said, people were writing about it from today's standard, looking back on it.
Yeah, I don't see it in the records for like a lot of different cases. Yeah. Like it's a lot of it is just, you know, what is it? What's the Latin? I want to feel smart right now. Post facto.
That sounds right.
Yo,
we'll go with it.
Dang, I'm like very intelligent. But yeah.
So Newt was arrested.
Sorry, Horatio says, glad that ended long ago. We all get along now in peace and harmony. Yeah, me too, brother.
Yep. Let me find. I don't want to accidentally like click through. Okay, this is what I wanted to.
That's Jim Conley.
Yes.
That one where the guy like made up a new story like on his deathbed. That's crazy. We're gonna get into that, Leo.
We'll get into that.
That one is crazy. I was listening to that, half an hour ago. I'm like, are you serious?
That we're definitely gonna get into.
After like everyone involved is dead. We'll get into it later. That's the tagline for the show. Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Ex post facto. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Yeah.
But everyone here is more smart. I don't know why I'm running this. Everyone's smarter than me. So underneath Mary's body, there were 2 notes that were found. And I'll read one of them and you can read one of them. How about that?
Sure.
What are you doing?
You're just covering up his face with your cursor.
Maybe I wanted it there.
You're like picking his nose.
So there was 2 notes written and they were found underneath her. And remember,
those numbers were on there too?
No, that's just
they're numbering the lines.
They're numbering the lines of the letters. Right. So the first one said, ma'am, that Negro higher down here did this. I went to make water and he pushed me down that hole. A long, tall Negro black that who is waist, long, slim, tall Negro. It right play with me.
Yeah, Mary Phagan moonlighted as a fortune cookie writer. Yeah.
And there was a second note.
He said he would love me, land down play like the night watch did it, but that long, tall black Negro did by his sleff herself.
I think, yeah.
Sounds like Rolling Stone lyrics.
Yeah. So this is the exact word or the exact lettering
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
obviously, that were found on those letters. So they're trying to blame like whoever did this wrote these letters and is trying to blame the night watchman. This is obviously when they say the night witch, I think they're trying to write night watch, right? And James Connolly, who did admit to writing the letters, by the way, is not long, tall, slim.
So he admitted to writing those.
Yes, he did.
What a mess.
It's a total mess. It's a whole thing. We're doing an episode on it because it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Those are the letters that were found under her. Another thing that happened. Okay. I need to just tell the story because these notes are just messing me up.
Yeah. Just be yourself.
We'll get back to the notes. I do better when I'm just like,
I know. Yeah.
I don't know why.
This is why I don't prep for streams because it comes off. It comes off the plastic.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not plastic.
Well, no, I know you're not.
But I'm acting.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the first,
just
are we in like a half an hour in? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to. So what had happened was that they call Leo Frank at home and he doesn't answer the phone, which they say is very unusual that he didn't answer his phones.
Ding, 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 ding. Sorry. Okay. He has his ringtones.
That's his ringtone.
Right, sorry. I'm here for the. Okay.
Thank you. We need the jokes.
Yes.
They go to his house, and the first thing he says, so imagine this, you're at home and the cops, it's early in the morning, like very early in the morning, cops show up at your house. They knock on your door. What's the first thing you say to them if it was you?
Well, cops,
definitely not what he said.
Well, what did he say?
He said, "Did something happen at the factory?" Like,
what?
Man. Also, he came into the room nervously rubbing his hands together. This is not the first time he does this
You're
day.
You're kidding me. He was hand rubbing.
Yes.
That is too
good.
A
lot.
Now, I will say this kind of is a change of subject or whatever, but I know the answer to that question because the cops have showed up at my house at 3 in the morning in the last year.
What do you want?
What I said is I'm not the meth head that used to live here. That's straight up. They're looking for the previous owner who was into drugs. I'm like, sir, I'm Stephen Baker. Like I'm not blank name who you totally have an arrest warrant for meth. Like so that yeah.
I'm gonna try that the next
something
time.
Happened at the Capitol. Nervously rubs hands together.
Yeah.
So he literally was. Oh my gosh, dude.
Well, and here's the thing why this comes up at trial a lot because the hand rubbing.
Did someone find a dead youngster?
Yeah.
This is so dark, man. Yeah. Anyway,
the reason why this hand rubbing is important, and it does come up quite a few times from several witnesses throughout the trial, is because this was not his normal behavior. He was generally a nervous guy, he was kind of mousy, nerdy with the glasses. Let's get a picture of him. There he is. So he's kind of a nerdy, mousy guy. But this specific gesture is not something that he normally did. But he did that here. And then when we get to some of the witnesses, they say from the 12:30 time until he leaves work that day, not until it was discovered, but from that 12:30 time that we found out from the autopsy that she died till he leaves work, he does this several more times.
Wow.
So that's, I think, important anyway. Why did I pull the notes up again? I said I'm not doing that. They tell him, yes, something happened at the dude. Yeah, it happened at the factory. One of your employees is dead. Do you know who Mary Phagan is? And he's like, no, never heard of her.
Which is a total lie. He signed her checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that part in that video too, where it's like,
not only did he sign her checks, But her workstation was literally right outside of his office. So every time he would go, like they were both on the second floor. So every time he would go like into his office, he would pass by her, and all of the other employees, witnesses at this trial, say that he would stop and talk to her from time to time, and other employees too, not just her, but like he totally knew who she was. But he's like, I don't know, there were some people that came in to pick up paychecks yesterday, and I have to check the records to see if she was one of them. And they do that. First of all, they go down to the morgue to see if somebody can identify her, because they didn't know.
How can they just say an innocent man was lynched, yo?
Yeah.
Dude, the media is terrible.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
An innocent man. Because no one ever claimed that he was innocent.
Nope.
Like that he was,
he's not exonerated either.
Yeah, even
though
in his pardon, it was not
a pardon is not an exoneration. Yeah. Well, we're skipping ahead, man. We'll get to the pardon.
Okay.
So they take him to the morgue along with, I think it was like a secretary or something, to try to identify the body, and he wouldn't even look at her. They said that the woman secretary actually is the one that identified the body instead of him. He was like totally freaked out being at the morgue, which I guess even if you weren't a killer, I might be freaked out at a morgue seeing a dead 13-year-old. So I don't know if that's a thing, but
yeah, I mean,
it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, his behavior around after the deed was very sus.
Very sus. And actually you can add, like, I know you just listened to that thing that I sent you. So if you want to add in some of the sus stuff, you can do that. No problem. Okay, so they go back to the factory then, and they're asking about James Connolly. They want to know, the night watchman Newt and then James Connolly, they want to know their records. So they're like, check to make sure they were where they were supposed to be, because these are employees that have to check in or punch a clock or something every 30 minutes. And he does, and he looks at them and he's like, yes, they were exactly where they were supposed to be the whole time they were working. And then instead of giving these records over to the police, they let him keep them for some reason. But then the next day, they're like, can we get those records? And he looks at him again and he's like, oops, my bad. They actually, neither of them were where they were supposed to be, like for like large periods of time. They just didn't clock it or, punch the clock or whatever, even though he already had said the day before that. Also, this is another scene where he's hand rubbing when he's checking the records. The second time they said he was hand rubbing in that part as well. Yeah. I think I have to have the notes up. There was several things that happened at this point. So the Atlanta Police Department decide they're going to get the Pinkertons in on it, because at the time Atlanta is not what Atlanta is now. It's still a city or whatever, but it's smaller, and they're not, they don't have the crime like we have today and the investigative skills. They're just like local beat cops or whatever. Yeah. So they're like,
the Pinkerton was like, that's like predates the FBI.
Exactly.
Right? That like became the FBI, right?
It
was a private investigation thing, but that was pre-FBI, of course. Yeah, the FBI was formed under Hoover, right?
Yes.
Like not the president, but like J. Edgar Hoover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so not only the police department they're suspecting Leo Frank of doing this, even though this note that we just read about the night watchman was there. They're like, well, somebody's doing that. Somebody planted this evidence, obviously. If like, it's purported that Mary was writing these notes as she's being murdered and assaulted. So obviously that did not happen. So they're like, they're trying to set this guy up. Now, remember, Leo Frank's wife's side of the family is very prominent. They know lots of rich people back in New York, a lot of like newspaper people they know. So immediately the spin starts happening. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to cover this case, honestly, because, I covered other cases like more today, like recent cases where there's people that are just obviously guilty. Adnan Syed, obviously guilty. Kevin Cooper, Kevin Keith. These are obviously guilty people that just random media spin are trying to get them out of jail or exonerated or off the death penalty, like off death row for no other, like, I don't understand why, if they're murderers, they're trying to do this. And I went into detail on all those cases I just named. And this seems like this is the first one of those, which is what made it so interesting to me, because the newspaper spin starts to happen almost immediately.
This is like the start of cancel culture.
Yeah.
This is the cultural implications of this one are crazy.
Exactly.
Super intense.
So at one point, Leo's being investigated and he knows he's being investigated. So he says, well, why don't you come check my laundry from the day before? And you'll see no blood, no blood on my clothes, come. And they think that the reason he did that is because he had evidence planted at Newt's, the night watchman's house, of a bloody shirt or something like that. But the Pinkertons are smarter than the average detective, I guess. And they could tell that was planted because it was dipped in the blood instead of what would happen. It was first forensics.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I learned. I mean, about during the January 6th thing, it's when a group of investigators gets to look in, they overturn everything. I mean, it's literally their job.
Yeah.
So they're gonna find all kinds of stuff that, look, they got this chart over here of just they map out every single detail and put all those numbers on it.
Exactly.
Do those have a name? Where you're a dead person.
Diagram?
I put the little thing that says 18
the little numbers.
Yeah. What are those called?
Some sort of placard. So, I bet somebody in the chat will know. What are those little things called? The little numbers. Yeah. There's got to be a name for them. Is there
Everything
a police officer in the chat?
Everything has a name.
Tell me what that's called. Okay. I'm doing a lot of uhs and ums today. I could hear myself doing it. It's driving myself nuts. So if it's driving you guys nuts, I'm sorry. He okay, so he planted evidence, and they think that obviously the other two suspects who are in jail, and that's another thing that's weird, is they kept all these people in jail at the same time. Usually they figure out the crime first and then arrest somebody, but they had all these suspects and just arrested them all. But Leo got bailed out at one point and then ended up going back.
Was it Atlanta police or federal police?
Well, the Atlanta police hired the Pinkerton detectives, but it's the Atlanta police doing the...
so this is all a state crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the other two didn't have legal teams behind them. They maybe had court appointed attorneys, but they didn't have people who were out there that was going to plant evidence for them, obviously, or, get rid of evidence, stuff like that. They figure out almost immediately that the night watchman is not guilty. They let him out of jail. I guess his alibi lined up because they knew it happened after the autopsy at 12:30, and he had an alibi for that time. Also, another thing that was weird about that day is Leo Frank asked the night watchman to come in at 4:30 instead of his normal hours, or from 6:30. So he gets to work at 4:30 because Leo Frank was supposed to go to a baseball game that night, and they're called evidence identification markers.
All that.
It's exactly what they are.
Yeah, that's no special word there. Yeah.
No special word. He was supposed to go to a baseball game. He had planned to go to a baseball game that night. And then when the night watchman came in, Leo's like, whoa, what are you doing here? He's like, dude, you asked me to come in early. And he's like, no, come back at 6:30. And the night watchman was tired because he woke up early to go to work early. He's like, well, I'll just go down into that room down there and take a nap. And Leo Frank's like, no, you got to go and come back. You cannot stay here.
Wow.
Which was odd as well.
Whoa.
Yeah. During this time too, in between, this is from the time Mary was killed and Leo Frank leaves the office for the night. A gentleman came by he had been fired and he wanted to get his boots. He left some boots or some shoes up on his workstation. He's like, hey, Can I come by and get my stuff from upstairs? And Leo Frank's like, no, nobody can come in. Or he says he lied about the boots not being there. He's like, no, I saw somebody sweep them up. They threw them in the trash. He's like, can I just go check to see if they're there? And finally he gave in. He's like, well, we'll go look for your boots, or, we'll walk with you to go look for your boots. And they were there. So he just totally lied to this guy about him seeing them get swept up. And I imagine at that time, people who are working in a factory don't have many pairs of shoes. So it's not like a disposable item. That
good pair of boots. That's like your livelihood. I mean, that's what you work in if you're a poor.
Exactly. So very many fishy things happened that day. It comes down to it. It's either going to be Leo Frank or what's the other guy's name?
Connolly.
Yeah, it's either Leo Frank or Connolly.
I don't remember his first name.
I'm terrible at storytelling. I don't know why I even do this. Yeah, here he is. Yeah, James
Connolly. Yeah.
James Connolly. Yeah. So those are the only two people that were around at that time. There was other people in and out, like other people picking up their paychecks, things like that. But the two main people that were working on this Saturday were James Connolly and Leo Frank. At first, James Connolly, he lies at first. He says, I don't know anything about it. I didn't write those letters. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's going on. And then later on, he changes his story to say, what happened was Mr. Frank killed the girl, and then he was going to give me $200 to, he helped move the body and write the notes and like cover up the crime. After he switched to that second story, he did not budge from that story. Keep in mind how much $200 is.
That's a lot.
Because this girl worked 2 shifts and got $1.20. Yeah. So that's a lot of, that's like, I didn't do the conversion, but I imagine that's like, I'm going to give you 10 grand. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he lied to start with, for sure.
This case stinks, man.
It really does. Yeah. And the other thing is, because there was not the forensic evidence that we have today, there wasn't video cameras. There's enough evidence that I think that Leo Frank should have was rightly convicted, but we'll never know for sure. Mm-hmm. There's no way to know any crimes back then. There's no way to actually know, which is why the burden is either a preponderance of the evidence, for civil cases, even now, but back then, or beyond a reasonable doubt. Mm. It doesn't have to be 100%. It just has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think it is, for sure. So James Connolly was the main person that testified against Leo Frank at trial. But there was other things that were brought up, for sure. And one of them was, I'm going to read some of these trial notes real quick.
That's interesting. Mr. Zed says Pinkerton Detective Agency is no longer able to engage in most government contracts as per the Anti-Pinkerton Act of 1893. Well, did not know that. The more you know.
The more you know. So the judge in the courtroom, they were saying in these newspapers in New York City, and it was a country, it was one of these cases where, even though it was local to this area, people were reporting on it all over the country. It was front page in all the way from Texas, all the way up to New York. And it was all of these newspaper people who had connections with the lawyers and of Leo Frank, who had connections with the synagogue that Leo Frank's wife's grandfather started. So it's a very widespread web of connections, which is why this story was reported on. And one of the things that they were reporting was that it was just so anti-Semitic that there's no way this trial could be legit, which is not the case, because the judge in this courtroom, Judge Leonard Roan, maintained strict discipline in his courtroom at all times. He did not tolerate any disturbances, but that's not what they were reporting when you go back and read the newspapers. They were saying people were just standing up and yelling anti-Semitic stuff at Leo Frank. Didn't happen. It's not in the court records. And it's not in any of there's reports that people who were at the trial, like as just like there to observe the trial. Like I think that people didn't really have TV back then, so they would go to the court cases and stuff as entertainment, which I guess people still kind of do that today.
It's good content.
It is good content.
Yeah.
Good content. Yeah. But everyone reported who was actually there. That wasn't a newspaper, like just random people reporting it, saying that there was none of that happening. And that's from the murder of that book, the murder of Mary Phagan was saying that. The defense calls the prosecution calls a number of other women to testify to say that Leo Frank would hit on them. He would like offer to pay them, give these young girls large sums of money to sleep with him.
Yeah. Do you hear that one where he like had that box of cash and he kind of gave it like a little wink and a nod?
Yep.
You know, like, how about it? How about that? They're, I don't know how to talk like,
they're doing pretty good.
Sweets.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Sweet thing.
And not only that, but James Connolly testified that Leo Frank would pay him from time to time to like watch the door for him when he had girls up there. And he had him do that day when Mary went up to get her paycheck. So, and then the next thing you know, according to James Connolly, Leo comes out of the office and says, well, she resisted me and I pushed her and she hit her head. And now you have to help me cover up this crime. Instead of calling an ambulance, like now we have to hide her body, and you got to help me, and I'll give you $200 to do it. But like I said, this was an ongoing thing for months and months. When James worked there, it would happen every Saturday where he would have girls up, and behind closed doors, and other men too. Not for him, but he would have other men, like his friends, come up there and be like, "Oh, here's a girl for you, and here's a girl for the look on your face."
I thought it was the fry. I was like, "Dang, Leo."
No, but so there was a metal room that they ended up. The Pinkertons found blood in this metal room, so that's obviously where the initial crime happened. And James Connolly didn't know that that Mary was strangled, and the reason this is important is because people are saying, well, if he did it, he would have known that she was strangled. He just thought it was the hit on the head. When they were moving the body, the handkerchief with her outfit, Leo had put the handkerchief around her neck, so they didn't see the ligature marks on her neck. Connolly didn't see them. And the defense to that, the defense calls a bunch of factory girls that say, no, he's never flirted with me or touched me. So, that's the opposition to it. Like there's like 20 different women saying, yes, this happened to me. It was not women even that still work there. It was women that quit because of this was happening. They're like, I couldn't work there anymore because I just wanted to do my job and go home. And that's not how it was there.
Wow. What a creep.
Yeah. So the jury goes and returns a verdict, and he's found guilty of murder. Frank and his family, Leo, his family, his lead attorneys are not even present when the verdict is read because they were afraid it was going to be like too explosive. So they just kept them away from there because.
So but Frank obviously was like incarcerated. During this. So he wasn't in the courtroom, but he wasn't like bailed out or whatever. It was just they just weren't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank's family and the lead attorneys were not present. Yeah.
They were afraid of mob violence, so they're like they just kept him away from there, which is
mob of whites,
I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Big white mob. Yeah.
He was sentenced to death, but obviously, when you get a death sentence, you have built into our justice system. There are appeals that automatically happen, and other appeals that you can do. Also, Jim Connolly, because of his part in the crime, got 10 months in, I guess it would be just jail.
Well, you, just to fast forward a little bit, like, so your take is that like that Jim Connolly did help.
Oh yeah.
Him,
he admitted to it.
He admitted to it. And it seems like a very light sentence.
I think it's because he agreed to testify.
Uh,
I'm sure it was a deal that he worked out.
A year? Jeez.
Yeah. Because if he didn't testify, I don't think Leo Frank would have gotten convicted. That was like the main. Like I said, there's no DNA. There's no, this stuff didn't exist yet. They didn't even have blood typing yet. So you had to have witnesses, and he was the witness. He was the guy. So the appeals start going on. The Supreme Court rejected Leo Frank's final murder conviction.
Damn, this went to SCOTUS? Wow.
Appeal. Yep. 7-2 on April 19th, 2015.
Wow. I wonder who those two were.
I don't even know who was in the Supreme Court back then. Yeah. All right. So
this one, I do remember this day that he was set to be executed. It was his 30th birthday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be on his birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
They did that on purpose. There's no way that, So after his last appeal was exhausted, Leo Frank's execution date was set for April 17th, 1914. I did say his birthday earlier. I'm surprised I didn't put that together.
Mm-hmm.
The defense filed a stay of execution. The defense successfully obtained a bunch of affidavits from witnesses from the trial repudiating their testimony. So they had years. So that happened in 1913. This is a year. They went out and got to all these witnesses and said, hey, could you sign this affidavit saying you lied, just saying that you committed perjury? And somehow they ended up getting these affidavits signed by these witnesses. It didn't work though. Still guilty. But this is the tactics that they were using to try to get this guy out of jail. They also raised a constitutional issue because he wasn't in the courtroom when the verdict was read. They're like, well, that's deprivation of due process of law. But the court said no, it was fine as you were, you didn't have to be there. I don't know if I agree with that. I think I don't think he should get out of jail because of that, but it may be a mistrial type of thing where they would have to do it again. You really have to follow you have to give people their constitutional rights. Also, I don't know if he agreed to not be there, because if there was fear of mob violence, he might have been like, no, I'll stay. Just let me know what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just stuff like this there's so many examples I can give, but this is one of them of why I don't think this is a good system, because then I don't think it's the best one. I don't think it's the best one possible. People are like, oh, it's not a perfect system, but it's the best one we got. I don't think that. Because if they would have, you see how they can just make any argument. They can just make any argument, no matter how ridiculous.
Exactly.
And I don't think that the Constitution is the highest level of moral system. I mean,
but it seems like it worked better back then. As your mama points out, it's way faster. They were going to put him to death almost immediately. Nowadays, people who are convicted and sentenced to death, it's 40 years before they actually put him to death.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
That's cruel and unusual towards the society.
Exactly.
It's cruel and unusual. What about us? That person should be it should be no more than a month, or something like 1 to 6 months after, and that's max.
Exactly.
But anyway.
On April 22nd, 1915, an application to commute his sentence.
Now, explain what that means.
Commutation means they just change the punishment.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
So instead of a death sentence, we would like him to have a life sentence. And it goes before a panel, and they decide, and then they can appeal that decision up to the governor of the state, which they did do. There's a 3-person panel. I think it's a 7-person panel now, but back then it was a 3-person panel, like a commission. And it was rejected on June 9th in a 2-1 vote. Word. Before we do anything else, we're going to do our drawing.
Do our drawing now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's entered into the drawing? I see a couple people here who are entered. We're going to do the drawing. So this is every single person that donated in the month of June is in this bucket. Oh, thank you.
Is this?
No. No.
That's all you do.
I'm
Wow.
glad you're a producer.
Crazy. Yeah. All right. So we're drawing. Do I get to do it?
Yeah.
So the one I pick is the one that gets the mug.
Whoever you pick.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
So
put your hand over and like.
anytime somebody donated, so there's people in here that have donated a few times, so they have more.
Oh, okay. So it's like, if you've donated a bunch of times, you get multiple.
Yeah. Any
right.
donation gets a.
And so this is an overruled mug.
So you're going to get an overruled mug that looks just like this one.
Okay.
Sent to you. And who is our lucky winner?
Salacious.
Salacious, you're a winner.
Is Salacious here right now?
Yay! I didn't see her, but she's here all the time.
Salacious.
She's one of my channel members. I don't see
Really?
Salacious here. I know people here know Salacious, so somebody let her know to contact me. I've messaged her on Discord before, so I know she knows how to get a hold of me, and I'll contact her as well. I'm very excited Salacious won.
Awesome.
She's a good, she is definitely a good fan. I hate to say fan. I don't know if
that's what they are.
Yeah. It feels weird.
They're not people. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah.
Oh,
Salacious said to give me the mug. I like Jerry. I know like on this show you don't do as much like chat interaction, but I've been looking. I like Jerry's energy in there.
Yeah. Jerry's a good guy.
Pick someone else.
Everybody loves Salacious. Yeah, for sure. Yay, Salacious. Remember, if you want to donate, I'm going to do it. I have another mug. I'm going to do it one more month. I have one more mug. I'm going to do it one more month. So starting today's show on, if you donate, actually, should I do it? I should do it. You can't do it on YouTube anymore though. So you're going to have to go to the Buy Me a Coffee link because you can't do it anywhere else. So go to the Buy Me a Coffee link right here. I will also put the QR code up. Never mind. I don't have the QR code programmed in here. Why don't I
support the stream right there?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was
anyway
right there.
It was right there, wasn't it? Yeah. I can read. I can read for sure.
I can't read. I can't read.
Yeah, go to buymeacoffee.com / Katie Z and donate. If you do donate, let me know because it doesn't tell me right away. I have to pull it up. There's a way to do this. There's a way for me to find out if people are donating to me because I want to make sure I get them into the July drawing. All right. Nobody yet. Somebody scan the code though. That's good to know. Get to typing those numbers in there. Send me money now. If you want a mug. So that's it. I'm not going to, I know you hate the plug, so we're not going to.
No, I don't mind. I just don't do my own.
You should.
All right. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Is it good?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. While we're talking about it, you should.
If you watch my show, just keep it open mind for you got to get through 5 hours of content before you make any rash decisions, not being a fan anymore. I have my fans are some of the most resilient internet warriors out there. They have been through some stuff.
It's been like a roller coaster.
It's been such a crazy journey on my channel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't operate out of fear, dog.
You can't. You definitely can't. We'll leave that there for a couple
90% of the commentary sphere does.
More than 90%.
Yeah, it's everyone's more than 90. Everyone's driven by their fear of talking about stuff.
Yep.
But join me.
Justin over there on Rumble said that in Ohio, the average death row stay is 20 years. 20 years on death row. That's crazy.
How much to get the co-host to eat a milk bone? I need 1,000 people to subscribe to my channel.
1,000 subscribers to see me.
No, wait. I need 280 subs on.
Is that how many I'm ahead of you?
No. I want to get to 500 on my videos channel so I can monetize. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would eat one if you got me 280 subs. I would eat a milk bone.
200. Frida's asking if you'll do it for $100.
I wouldn't. No. because I have $100. I'm gainfully employed. So no, those taste so bad.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, you're talking to you. See, Katie is a low price. Katie,
No.
how much would it for you? How much?
I've done this before.
You've eaten a milk bone.
$100. Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. $100.
That's like up there with like prostitution.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do it again. It was a group thing. They talked me into it. I'd like to let you know that the other people on that stream did it for way lower prices.
That is outlandish.
I was the highest priced milk bone eater. I think one of them did it for like.
I'm not for sale.
I am.
Yeah, and you definitely are. Yeah, it's an issue. So yeah, donate to Katie.
Yeah, please. Why not? I mean, what else are you doing with your money? You might as well. If I get $100, I
eat the milk bone. Okay,
perfect. He's like, no, I'll just give her $100.
I'll just give her the $100.
Yeah.
So you want to get back to the case?
Absolutely. No, I just want to shoot this.
This is what I do. This is where I'm in my element. Yeah,
I know. So after the prison commission people rejected.
I'm not laughing at the case. I'm laughing at what Just a Con just said. On behalf of milk bone eaters, I'm feeling kind of attacked here. That's good stuff, man. I love the internet.
Yes. Governor John Slatton got the commutation request to his desk. This dude waited till the last day that he was in office, which is kind of I don't know what you call it.
This guy's just owned, man. It's just bought.
We talked about this. I don't know. He had reasons why he did the commutation, but I found out today, actually, I came in here, I said, I got to do this research or whatever, that before he became governor, John Slatton was a lawyer. I mean, I guess you're always like, once you're a lawyer, it's like a Marine. Once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
Yeah. I mean,
once you're a lawyer, you're always a lawyer. Yeah. And the law office that he worked for before he became governor was the same law office that put up the defense for Leo Frank.
Here's what I'm saying. I mean, I say this a lot about people online too, certain people, and it's like it would be better if they were bought. They're not even bought by money. They're just like
power,
afraid, power, social pressure. They're conquered. Like, so when you're conquered, you don't need to be bought. You're just conquered.
Yeah, I think that's the case here. Yeah. I don't think anybody gave him any money at all.
It would be better. At least they get a payday.
I think he thought
just a conquered man.
If he did not do this, once his stint as governor was done, he would not be able to do any, like back then, it wasn't like you become president or governor once and then you're just set for life. It wasn't like that. You had to go back to work and they were actually, politicians back then were doing their jobs and serving the people for a short amount of time and then went back to doing whatever they did.
I just hate corruption so much. I just hate like people. It's really, I'm like professionally offended, not like I am morally offended, but like, you know how I take my teaching job seriously. I won't compromise on the truth at all. And this guy's just that level of corruption where you just abdicating your duty. It's just crazy.
Exactly.
Throw that up on the screen.
Oh, this?
Oh, whatever. There's nothing on the screen.
We're right. We're on the screen.
I'm saying show that.
Okay. I was going to find the tab that I want to show before I actually turn it on, though. I guess that's good. So where was I? Oh, sorry. So last day in office, he waited till the very last day that he was in office, and then he commuted his sentence from a death sentence to a life sentence. Now, I don't agree with the reasons he gave for doing this. His reasoning was that, the main witness against this guy was this Jim Connolly guy, and how can we even trust Jim Connolly because he was a criminal too? My reason why I think that Leo Frank's sentence should have been commuted is because this was obviously not a pre-planned murder. This was something that just happened in a moment of passion. And I don't think that you should get the death penalty I think the standard that we have to where it has to be premeditated first-degree murder in order to get the death penalty is a correct thing.
Why?
Because taking a person's life should not be done lightly, in my opinion, whether it be by a person or by the state.
Well, I mean, like, what does that have to do with the premeditated, though? It isn't, they didn't take it lightly when they took the life. So
if it happened the way he said
so
it.
you saying these criminals in the cities now shouldn't have the death penalty? None of that stuff's premeditated. Not like any of those, like,
yeah,
not a
you
lot
don't
of
think
them.
they plan
No.
drive-bys?
No, I don't. No,
They absolutely.
I'm saying they don't plan that. That's like totally. Can you close that, by the way? That's that in the.
Sorry.
Please.
I didn't even.
That's
see
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just like feel impulse, then do it.
Oh, well, yeah, a lot of that, but
So,
like the drive-bys and stuff.
But a
like
drive-by
that,
is that's not the what's it called? The drive-by is premeditated, but it being a murder is not.
It is. They're planning on going out to what? They're going out to kill. They're shooting at people.
Yeah.
They're planning on killing somebody.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think it being relevant. And I just don't think the fact that it's premeditated should be relevant in whether they get the death penalty or not. I just don't. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? Like, I don't find it to be like a convincing argument. That shouldn't matter. It like, if you take a life, you should get the death penalty.
Here's with this case specifically, not in general.
Yeah.
With this case specifically, if it happens the way that Jim Connolly says it happened, is that Leo Frank was trying to sexually assault this girl and she accidentally died. He pushed her. She hit her head. There was her skull was cracked. Then she was strangled, but the skull crack is actually like that would have killed her if the strangulation, like she would have died either way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that way more relevant is if you try to cover it up, because that shows, because the premeditated or not is not relevant as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What is relevant is if you tried to cover it up. If you didn't feel remorse and if you wouldn't have gotten caught, you would have been fine getting away with it.
Oh yeah.
Then you got to die. You got to get the death penalty. I'd do it myself.
I don't know.
I would do it myself.
I am pro death penalty, but just in very specific cases, I guess.
Yeah, me too. Very specific. All. very specific. Yeah, you can't get more. Can't get more specific. Yeah. If you try to cover it up, then sorry.
I'm trying to think it through. To think it through. I think in this case, the commutation was what should have happened.
Yeah.
Like I said, not for the reasons that, definitely not for the reasons that this bot lawyer said.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I think that guy deserves the death penalty. I think the governor deserves it. I'm not kidding. That's such crazy corruption.
Yeah. So last day in
like
office,
how it says in your notes, the public was outraged.
The public was outraged.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't know that. Read that on July 18th, 1915. I didn't know that. July 8th. Yeah. See that down there? July 18th below that.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So first on June 15th, I'm going to tell you what happens there first, and then we'll. Yeah. Okay, so on June 21st, 1915, because the public was outraged and they feared a mob, mob violence again. They're afraid of this. Apparently, it was a big deal back. I guess now. Have you seen France lately? Mob violence is a thing that still happens today, but they were really afraid that once this was announced that they commuted his sentence, there was going to be a big outrage. So they took him from Fulton County, which is the Atlanta area, down to Milledgeville, Georgia, to some podunk small town prison away from the Atlanta area to try to not hide him necessarily, but make it more difficult to get to him. June 21st goes to Milledgeville. Now these prisoners in the Milledgeville jail are hearing rumors that this mob that was outraged is just going to fire indiscriminately into the jail in hopes that they would kill Leo Frank. So a prisoner takes it upon himself to slash Leo Frank's throat, because they're like, well, if he's not here, they won't fire indiscriminately into the jail. They slash his throat, but two other prisoners who were both doctors, they weren't doctors that worked at the prison. They were prisoners in the same cell block, I guess it is,
Whoa.
with him.
What a crazy story.
Saved his life.
Wow.
By stitching his wound. I'm assuming with no anesthetic or like anything like that. So, oh, Salacious, you're here. You won. Look.
Yep.
You won.
Yay.
I'm glad you're here. Hit me up on Discord. I'll send you your mug. Congratulations. Yay. Okay. So yeah, I'm just picturing 1915 surgery in a prison with no supplies.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, stitched his throat, saved his life.
Yep.
On August 16th, so the next month, a month later, at night, 25 armed men drove down to Milledgeville, Georgia from Marietta, and they decided that they were going to storm the prison. So they cut the phone lines.
Were you about to say Capitol?
I was.
Okay.
They're going to storm the Capitol, and no, they decide that they're going to storm the prison and get this Leo Frank guy and bring him back to carry out the sentence that they thought he deserved, which was death, which is what he originally was sentenced to. Personally, no matter what the situation, I think that mob, like this justice taking it, like I think that this is wrong.
That's clearly wrong. Yeah,
Obviously.
I mean, and it's like, but honestly, though, I'm not going to say, like this would happen less if the state took itself more seriously.
Probably.
Like earlier, like the rape alone should garner the death penalty.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like if it's, I mean, like, and not to quote,
but this was not a rape. It was attempted rape. There was no evidence saying that she was actually, it's not that she wasn't, it's that the autopsy didn't have any evidence of it.
Right. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen either.
No, but it doesn't mean that it did beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah. But that's why, but you're not talking to a person that believes in the system.
Yeah,
like
I forgot.
Yeah. It's like, that's why I'm not a good, like that's why I don't do a true crime. Like, I mean, I don't believe in this Western system. Like things happened or they didn't.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a whole thing where you like, I don't believe that we're in the best system in human history. I don't think this reasonable doubt due process. I mean, it's going to result in broken eggs, but our system has broken eggs. We have people, like you said earlier, in jail that are never going to be put to death, and they've done serial rape, murder.
Mm-hmm.
They're, getting 3 square meals a day for the rest of our lives. That's like the best system we got. It's insane.
It is. News Now enemy said that she would have been raped if she didn't die first. So yeah,
I mean, so that you just got to have swift justice and have the state put that guy to death. And I mean, I'm not saying it has to happen. I think that I do think that those people should be charged with a crime. I don't know if it should be some sort of. I don't think it should be murder. It should be like.
Well, I think
it should be like not dereliction of duty, but like that's the state's job to do it, not a mob.
I think the specific people, like all 25 of these men, did not tie the noose and put him, like not all 25. Like they were all there, but there has to be a handful of them that actually did the deed. I think that they should be
some sort of like that crime that they did should be some sort of like either like insurrection or revolution or some sort of thing where you're taking the place of the state when you shouldn't. That's really what it is. It's not because if you charge them with murder, that implies that he didn't deserve to die, and he totally did. So you have to charge them with like insurrection or I don't know all the different terms.
But they're going like the governor, even though he worked for the defense's legal, like the governor of the state said we changed our mind, life sentence for this guy. So they're going, I mean. It's just this. I personally don't think he should have been sentenced to death to start with because of the situation of the actual murder.
Yeah, and
I don't think.
And this sounds like a joke or like I'm not trying to insult you at all, but that's why you shouldn't be in charge.
When are you not trying
Like,
to?
I love you. You're one of my best friends, but you shouldn't be in charge.
No, it's true.
Because of that take. Like,
I shouldn't even. I really
it's got to be
shouldn't.
brutal men in government. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like,
no, I totally
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
And you can report on it. Like, it's like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, that's what I think, that you need, like serious, brutal men in government, discerning, serious, wise, but brutal and firm men.
I agree, but not these 25 men who can't control themselves enough to do it the correct way through the correct channels.
Yeah.
Like if you are so like, this is like you saw it because you reported on George Floyd riots. There is such a thing as a mob mentality.
The mob is worse than the state, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. Where they literally lose their mind when they're in a mob and people are chanting and like all of these things are happening. It's sensory overload. And I think that's what happened in this case for sure. So they drove her from Milledgeville. Is that what I said? Yeah.
Tell the people about how they totally screwed over the Leo Frank Memorial site.
I will.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay,
yeah, I will.
Right.
It's not in the notes, but So so they bring him back to Marietta.
Yeah. Just to answer this real fast, Smith says brutal men with daughters and nieces. It needs to be like family men with a ton to lose that are in office. So I don't even mean, I make jokes about me being in power, but I don't have enough responsibility to be in power. I don't have a family, but it needs to be like older family religious men with a ton to lose. That way, when you chop their heads off when they're corrupt, it sends a big message to the rest of society.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's okay to say, but
that's fine.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, what's done is done. I don't have a beep button, so I can't beep you.
When they beep, the beepy beeps. I'm just full. You just see my mouth moving. When you beepy beeps, the beepy beeps, and then you take those beeping beeps out there.
That would be fun. I need a beep button or like a boop.
Yeah.
You could have just went off if I had a 3-second delay and a beep button. They take him to Marietta, which is it's her hometown, so back to where she's from, and they find a big old oak tree and they hang him up from there. And this is the site. What I thought.
What was he wearing?
Well, it looks like there's a white shirt.
They got a picture of it. Dang.
Yeah, this picture actually ended up on a postcard.
Wow.
For the city of, like, if you went to Marietta and wanted to send a postcard home, like, hey, I'm on vacation in Marietta, you could have this image on a postcard to send back to your friends and family, which is kind of crazy.
Whoa, that's intense.
It really is, really very much so. So the site that this happened, I thought that we had visited. You'll see in the thumbnail.
This part of it. Yeah, I love this part of it.
On Friday, Stephen and I went to these sites. We went to Mary Phagan's grave, and we went to the site where Leo Frank was lynched. And then I found out today that the site that we were at was not the site that Leo Frank was lynched. It was several hundred feet or yards from the site, because recently here in Atlanta, we got new express lanes put in, and they apparently paved over the site and moved the placard over. So we weren't there. We definitely weren't.
It looks like we got to build a highway, guys. Sorry, we're not gonna. Yeah.
Fun fact, though, where the marker is now is in the parking lot of a Mexican restaurant.
Tacos.
We ate lunch.
Good Mexican food. Yeah.
Very good. It was very good. Delicious, by the way. I thought it was weird that nothing was in, like, I mean, I guess it's a Mexican-run Mexican restaurant, but I was having trouble because they were calling out the numbers and they weren't doing it in English. And I am really white and very not.
I was proud that I could understand it.
I was impressed. Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah, I can't speak Spanish at all, but I can understand it.
I was very impressed.
If they just slowed down a little bit, dude.
Yeah, he was like,
it was crazy.
He was fast. Yeah. And it wasn't like 1, 2, 3. It was like your number was like 9,421 or so. Like,
Noventa quince, right?
I don't remember.
Right.
Like, why are you asking me? I don't speak
know.
Spanish. Jerry would know.
So are we going to even get through this whole story? Because it's been an hour and a half. Yeah.
It's because you talk too much.
Yeah,
We're almost done.
But I'm good at content, though.
We're on the last page. Okay.
That thing about them cutting his throat is crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to say what type of prisoner, what type of doctor, what type of lawyer was in.
Yeah. So this was in 2018. This is the site that we went to. They dedicated it. And you can see right behind here, this is the new express lanes that they just put in. So it was over here before they built the road and they moved it over to here. Yeah. This was the site that we were at. The Mexican restaurant is, I think, right over there. Delicious. Yeah, so they did. This is it's the Roswell Road corridor they built over it.
Yeah, that's where we were. Wow, crazy.
So what happens now? We're gonna fast forward to real quick. Mary Phagan was also buried in Citizen Cemetery in Marietta, Georgia, and there is a placard there as well.
Yeah. Very easy to find.
Very.
I'm serious. We did find it.
Yeah. We did find it. We passed it. We only passed it once before we went.
I make fun of you so much that when I'm being genuine, it like comes off as a joke.
It does. But I highly suggest if you're visiting the Atlanta area, it is very solemn. But what's my mom talking about the KKK in the chat? This is very random. You wonder where I get it. It's a very solemn place, and I suggest going there and just paying your respects. She did not deserve what happened to her, and it's a very sad story. We're gonna fast
and they're
forward.
at least like the Leo Frank plaque is ridiculously biased. The Mary Phagan one wasn't really even that biased in her favor. It just like said what happened, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this placard was put up by the Jewish American Society for Historic Preservation.
Mm-hmm.
The one by Mary Phagan's grave was just put up by like the Georgia National, or Georgia Historical.
No, I don't think that's right. It was some Confederate thing.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, it was some it was some. That's why I was surprised by it, because it seemed like it would be totally biased towards her, but it was like a Confederate. Confederate thing.
I think it isn't a Confederate cemetery. So, yeah.
Very basic.
All right. So we're going to fast forward to 1982, guys. We're just like from 1915, Leo Frank gets lynched. We're going to just fast forward to 1982. And why do I say?
You just switched numbers around.
I did do that.
Yeah, it's okay. But they can't see it. So why?
Because I'm me.
Yeah.
That's why. A gentleman named Alonzo Mann, who testified at the trial on his deathbed, signs an affidavit claiming of Frank's innocence. He claims that he had seen Connolly carrying Mary's body. It says Connolly threatened to kill him if he told anyone what he had seen. Now, couple of things about this. First of all, Connolly admitted helping cover up the murder. So even if he did see Connolly carrying the body, he admitted to that because he said that Leo Frank killed her and then he helped hide the body. So, okay. But what happens from this? So they get the signed affidavit, and on January 4th, 1983, the Anti-Defamation League submits an application for posthumous pardon. Did I say that wrong?
No. I mean, you said it very wrong. Yeah.
Could you say it?
Posthumous.
Thank you.
Pardon. Like posthumous. Like a person that isn't funny anymore. Like, yeah, it's a person that used to be funny.
It's me. I used to be. I was funny, and now I'm not. So they ask for a pardon of Leo Frank based on Mann's testimony. Doesn't make any sense, because even if that did happen, and how do you get somebody on their deathbed to sign an affidavit? If he was afraid that Connolly was going to kill him, Connolly had been dead for years already. So why is it just coming out now? It doesn't make any sense either way.
No.
On March 11th, 1986, the Georgia Board of Pardons and Paroles issues a posthumous. Did I do it right that time?
You crushed it.
Pardon to Leo Frank.
Posthumous.
But the pardon does not clear Frank of the murder. Basically, what they were saying at this point is that because the prison did not protect him, they're going to give him a pardon. And a pardon is not an exoneration. An exoneration is saying the guy didn't do it. A pardon is saying the guy did do it, but we're going to relieve him of his sentence, which he was already dead. So I don't know why they would even go through the rigmarole of doing all that.
This system is sick, man. This is disgusting, man.
Yeah.
It's all just lawyer BS, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, there was no reason to do that. I'm just clicking through to see if I had anything else I needed to show you guys. Nope, that was it. So that's the show. That's it. That's the case. What do you think?
One second. Let's cover one more thing. I'm looking up what your mom is talking about. Did you see that other thing she said?
No,
that's very interesting. I didn't even know that. Scroll down a little bit.
I don't listen to my mom most of the time.
No, this is really interesting. I'll go up a little bit more. There you go. The KKK was formed from this event. The Knights of Mary Phagan. They left the lynching to drive to Stone Mountain and burn their first cross.
Oh,
wow! I'm gonna look into that. That's crazy.
Hey, when you're here next week, we should go to Stone Mountain the day you're here. I think you would. Have you been there? You would enjoy it.
No,
it's where the KKK was invented.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
know you like the history stuff.
Yeah.
And you're part of the KKK, so
don't say that.
That's a joke. These are the jokes, guys.
Don't say
These
that.
These are the jokes. Channel. Yeah.
That's my channel. That's my channel material.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, it might be a hot take or whatever, but I think the ADL is worse than the KKK.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean they've committed more crimes. I mean, the KKK is the fear about them in the media and stuff like that is like what made them sensationalized.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're I don't really know that much about them, but I know every time they bring it up, it's like what they like. If you look at like their body count, like it's not that many. Forming a group is not a crime, or if it is, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is no. You may not borrow my head. I mean, I think the ADL is a terror group. I mean, they do it through other means or whatever, but they're just professional liars.
Yeah. Smith just called my mom old.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do a bunch of research here, but that's the new Ku Klux Klan of Georgia, but that's of Georgia. I'll look into it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically the case. That this is the reason the ADL formed this case. There was no ADL before this case, and it was the spin that the ADL. I mean, this is an opinion, allegedly, that they formed to do the spin on this case to try to get this Leo Frank guy out of jail. And it was all these newspapers, and like I said, this big web of this community. Across the country. It wasn't just in Georgia. It was across the country that they were, they were in high places in the media that they were able to report whatever they wanted. So any last words? I think we're done.
I'm very interested in this. Yeah. See, there's a first Klan that started in 1865 till 1972, and then they reemerged in 1915. So yeah. We got to go to Stone Mountain. That'd be cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank
you for helping me out, Horatius. He says, as a Grand Wizard, he can confirm that I'm not a member of the KKK.
Good. I'm glad.
Dude, no group will have me other than my own. I just don't fit into a mold. Like groups require like taking orders and, fitting into some sort of mold. And they would kill me, dude. The Klan would kill me, dude. I like black people.
Yeah. They won't have me because I'm Catholic. They don't like Catholic.
Interesting.
Did I tell you the story about my mom getting kicked out of a KKK rally when she was 10 years old because she's Catholic?
No. That's crazy. Yeah, they're WASPs. Yeah, they're anti-Catholic. Wow.
When I'm gonna tell this real quick story, and then we're gonna go. But my mom told me a story about when she was 10 years old. They moved from Chicago to Georgia because my grandfather got a job in Decatur. It was probably in Atlanta, but they moved to Decatur, Georgia. And he saw this post about this thing that was happening in the Decatur Square. And it was a KKK rally. And my grandfather, being the curious gentleman that he was, said, "Hey, Betty," my grandmother's name, "let's go down to the KKK rally and see what it's all about."
Wow.
I mean, it was a new thing back then. You know what I mean? So he didn't know what it was. So he's from up north, originally from England, but lived up north. And they go. Betty doesn't want to go. Grandma doesn't want to go. So he takes his 10-year-old daughter, my mother, to the KKK rally, and she needed to use the restroom, and they would not let her use the restroom in the building because they were Catholic. And they're like, "No. Be gone with you."
Do you have to like declare that you're like what your religion is?
I want to say that she was either wearing a crucifix and instead of a cross or whatever. There was something that gave it away that they were Catholic. So
wow, it's crazy.
It's a funny story, huh? Yeah. Subscribe to, if you're not subscribed here, what are you doing with your life? I don't understand why you're here. Subscribe, hit the like button too, by the way, on your way out. Definitely hit the like button and
ignoramus videos.
Ignoramus videos and do the ignoramus streams too.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really care about that much.
I guess.
Yeah, I'd rather you create a bunch of new accounts and sub twice on ignoramus videos. Just kidding. That was a joke. We're not doing any sort of any tomfoolery, any ballyhoo, any boondoggles,
not
any
today.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
No. But yeah, ignoramus videos. I haven't uploaded in a while, but
what are you looking for?
Agent of social media chaos is the ADL is a terrorist organization, in my opinion. Totally agree.
Yes, thanks for joining us over there in Odyssey.
Evil, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it. Thanks for coming, guys.
Ballyhoo, yeah. Ballyhoo's a good word. Love you guys. That was fun. Thank you for having me on. That was cool. That was nice and chill. See, was I subtle and objective enough on this stream?
I was worried.
Yo,
I was very worried.
Your boy can control himself sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, you were subtle and objective. Congratulations one more time to Salacious. I will get in touch with me. You know where to find me. We've talked before, so I will get your mug out to you just like this one. Congratulations. Don't let your daughter steal it from you. I saw that. I don't want to have to cover a crime where you kill your daughter because she stole your Overruled with Katie's Ed mug. Don't want to have to do it.
Again, it would be great content.
It would be good content.
If there was a crime that happened like in your community, you would have to cover it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You would have to, yeah.
For sure. And by the way, if anything ever happens to me, you need to come over here and do a Overruled
I'll do an Overruled about yours.
Yes, for sure. You've seen the setup now. You could do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow, it's cack.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace out.
Bye.
First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man, Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you so loco? Show off your photos, throw out your Twinkies, throw up your ho-hos, tuck in them pinkies. Them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto.
Looking for new drills, needed a new track of land. I used to dig the Simpsons, man. Bumping Biggie, Pop, Smash Mouth, and Simple Plan. No scrubs for the crease in my pimples, damn. From the south streets of southeast Michigan, hitting shuffle till I settled on a different jam. And when a dime won't do, a better nickel can. And let me tell you when I used to dig them Simpsons, man. A funny thing about time, you can't get it back. A tight grip, but it rips the jacket. Slight lisp with a mix of traffic. You see about me, like Mr. Glass, always wished I was a whiz at graphics. Take me back to the past where the hits were massive. You can hear Gladys Knight and the pips on plastic. Misfit molasses. Delete my contacts just so I can stick to glasses. Feel that skipped out, so I miss the classics. Aristotle of the bottle, Seneca of the sinful action, senator of the simple maxim. I swear for a skillful Saxon, I'm still relaxing. Who wanna take a dip in the mind sauce, making up for the time lost, forgetting all my past was when I sign off. Prime bribe, prime rib, Agent Smith, crime boss, popping red pills till my mind's off, mind's off.
First Florida man. First Florida man. Endo de Soto. First Florida man. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you so logos? Show off your photos. Throw out your Twinkies. Throw up your ho-hos. Tuck in them pinkies. Them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, Iyama Fagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto.
Threw up that blue pill, moved to a new track. I slew the foothills of that voodoo sap. Microfiche tape decks, I'll sift through that, cause I'll do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Give me the news that make my mood react. I'll swim through the sewer just to make it to the truth intact. And you can shine up that voodoo with new shellac. I'll still do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Imagine thinking Karl Marx is new school Klingon like Huzu. They welcome the ways they can bring on the boots, dude. Declare a major, they get paid to pollute you. Self-ashamed neighbors never gaze when they scoop you. I wonder how we fight it. The 6th step is never enter in my tent uninvited. The 5th step is produce, no skills is no use. 4th step community preference is unity. 3rd step is nation, it's somewhat location, mostly relations, that's the situation. Next step family, patriarchal sanity. Safe under the canopy, ain't a place for anarchy. First step I just got to say it, no showboat. Step back and soak up the logos.
First Florida man. Endo de Soto. First Florida man. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you soak logos? Show off your photos. Throw out them Twinkies. Throw up your ho-hos. Tuck in them pinkies. Them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, Iyama Fagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Hernando de Soto. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, Iyama Fagoso. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto.